Hey guys!
It's Mundane Miracle Monday.
Yay! So,
In last week's episode,
mostly we were talking about audio feed. It kind of took up most of the episode because we did a lot.
we had to make it a two-parter because we wanted to make it about all of our trips that we've taken because we've taken so many.
Yeah, and all road trips. So we've had interesting things on the trips to places. We've had interesting things happen at the fest. So yeah, we're going to get into that now.
We spent a lot of time talking about audio feed, but we skipped over two very important stories. Really were important to my development as a human being.
Yeah.
I kind of touched on it a little bit in our very first episode, in our pilot episode, but I'm going to go in depth now. Erica and I went to Taco Bell. This was the first year at Audio Feed, and Erica and I think it was the last night, we went to Taco Bell to pick up some food, and we had placed a mobile order, and so we were like, that'll be quick, we'll just drive there, pick it up. And so we walked in, there was nobody else in this Taco Bell. So we just looked, our order wasn't ready, and so we sat down at one of the tables, and the guy behind the counter was kind of looking at us. And I was like, they probably don't have our order, or it somehow got messed up or whatever. So we sat there for a long time, and then Erica was like, I'm going to go to the bathroom. And I said, okay. And so then when Erica went to the bathroom, the guy behind the counter motioned for me to come up to the counter to speak with him. And so I did. I went up there and I had my order confirmation ready because I thought he was going to be like, what are y'all doing sitting here? So I had my order confirmation ready to be we're picking up. But before I could say anything, remember, Erica's in the bathroom. I'm in this Taco Bell essentially alone with this person. He looks at me and he says, is that your real hair? And I said, yeah. And he said, mm-mm. And he literally reached across the counter and ran his fingers through my hair to check to see if it was real.
Imagine
the audacity. And I stepped back and I was like, did that just happen to me? That was crazy. And then Erica came out of the bathroom, I guess I looked shell shocked probably. And she was like, what? And I was like, let's go sit down. And I told her what happened and she was like, what? It was literally so crazy. And then somebody else walked in and was waiting for their food and was complaining about how long it was taking. And Erica and I finally got our food, but Erica had ordered an iced coffee. Mistake number one, ordering iced coffee from Taco Bell.
Literally, I never even knew they had iced coffee.
And so he gave her a hot coffee. And she was like, this is supposed to be an iced coffee. And he's like, oh, my bad. And he turns around, gets a cup, fills it with ice, and just pours the hot coffee, over the ice and gives it back to her.
And the sad part is he thought that was what he's supposed to do.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. And there was there was a manager working behind the in the kitchen. And so she was there, but she wasn't paying attention to anything that was happening.
Of course.
It was crazy. And it was so traumatizing. I did email corporate and was like, this man touched me without my consent, and it made me very uncomfortable. And they called me and asked for the whole story, and I told them, and they said, yeah, this isn't the first complaint that we've gotten about this guy. We'll take care of it. I don't know what that means. I don't know what we'll take care of it means. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it was crazy.
And then she couldn't catch a break.
Yeah, so we went back to the fairgrounds, and I sat down to eat, and I started bawling my eyes out because it hit me that just happened, and it was so uncomfortable. And my brother, what really got me is that my brother had already left, and I was I just wanted comfort, and I was around all these strangers basically. And so, but a lot of people came around me, and we told them what happened, and they prayed over me, and it was very sweet. But then we walked into another tent where I don't remember why we were even going in there. It wasn't a tent that we frequented, but we walked in and there were a couple of old men who were around this tent a lot, and they were dressed steampunk. I don't know how to describe it. Weird. But literally, we were walking through the tent and he saw me and he was like, I love your red hair, and reached out and touched it. And I was like, we have to leave. This is crazy. Why did that happen?
These people have never seen red hair before.
Yeah. And Yeah, that was just insane. And like, what makes you think that you can just touch me? Like, what about my demeanor says, feel free to touch my hair?
Yeah.
Nothing. But yeah, that was my first year at Audio Feed. It's a miracle I went back after that.
That is actually a miracle you went back.
Erica let me cry on her shoulder, and I was like, wow, I just met this girl. And here I am crying on her shoulder. And like, that's big for me. I don't let people see me cry very often. And here I was just crying in the middle of Audio Feed, and a lot of people were around. But it was like the exhaustion too, because it was the end of the weekend, and it was like I was exhausted and like shocked, and I missed my brother, and it was just like there was a lot going on. But don't touch a girl's hair without her consent, please.
Especially like touching your whole head like the first guy did.
Like running your fingers through, that's crazy. That's like psychotic behavior.
That's weird. One time we took a trip in the winter time all the way to Illinois. It was Illinois.
Chicago.
To Chicago in a literal ice storm.
Yeah, from North Carolina. We literally, the day before, we found out that our friends were having an album release party in Chicago. And I like sent in our group chat, I was like, man, I wish we could go to this.
We said,
why can't we? And that is like, that's unhinged behavior.
No, like how did we
that
even
was
do
not
that?
Like us.
How did I even get off of work?
I think I don't know. I don't remember. I wasn't scheduled for like that whole weekend.
I must have not been either, because I used to not be able to get off work last minute.
Yeah.
Especially not like that. So I don't think.
Yeah,
I
that
must
was
have not
crazy.
been scheduled.
So yeah, and I think that's what it was. And I think that we were like, okay, like God has ordained this to happen so that we can go to this album release party. And so the next, like that night we packed up and we left the next morning to head to Chicago. And on the way there, did we stay? We must have stayed at my parents' house on the way there, because they lived like in Indiana, more than halfway, but they were like a stopping point. We stopped at my mom's, at my parents' house in Indiana, and stayed the night there. And then we went the rest of the way to Chicago the next day. And my mom gave us coats and everything, because North Carolina, that's where we were living, and you don't need
didn't
coats
have
there.
coats.
Yeah. So man, I wish I knew. My mom gave me one of my dad's jackets, and I wish I knew what happened to that, because I liked wearing that.
I loved the one she let me wear, and I'm pretty sure Erica loved. Like we all loved those jackets.
My mom has good style.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we went to the show that night, and it was like we surprised everybody by being there. Like it was so fun, and it was just like a good time. It was like just crazy. And then the next day we went and had pizza, Chicago style pizza, with my brother, because he lived in Chicago at the time. And we explored Chicago a little bit.
Yeah.
We went to like this cool bookstore and a coffee shop. And oh my gosh, I ran into my old neighbor. I used to live in Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
And I ran into my old neighbor, who I have talked about a couple of times on this podcast, my friend Rachel. She was at this coffee shop that we were in downtown Chicago. And I was like, Rachel, what are you doing here? And she was like, what are you doing here? That was so crazy. And so we talked for a long time, and it was just like, what are the odds? That was so crazy that we ran into her. And I had a stomach ulcer at the time, so I was like miserable.
That was so bad.
I was miserable. I could hardly eat anything. And
you were still trekking, doing that whole road trip.
Yeah.
Mariah does not complain. That's one thing about her, is if she has a problem, she's not even probably going to tell you.
I'll keep it to myself. Thank you very much.
I don't like it.
I had a bottle of peppermint oil that was like my only relief, and I would rub that on my stomach. And I don't think it really did anything. I think it was psychosomatic, because a stomach ulcer is not going to be helped with peppermint oil.
Yeah.
But it just made me feel like I was doing something. At that point, I don't think I realized that I didn't know that it was a stomach ulcer. I just knew that I thought I had a stomach bug or something. So we left. We stayed with my aunt actually overnight. And so when we left, we stopped at a Wendy's to get some food. Just right outside of Chicago. And my mom called me while we were at Wendy's, and she was like, it's supposed to storm. Like there's going to be a big snowstorm coming through. Maybe you should turn around and stay another night at Aunt Carol's house. And I was like, hold on. And I looked at the radar, and something about me is that I'm a meteorologist. Not actually, but I did love studying weather and weather patterns when I was in high school. And so I love to look at a radar. And so I was looking at it, and I was looking at the timestamps, and I was like,
we'll be fine.
We can make it. Like, we can outrun this snowstorm. Mistake. We could not outrun the snowstorm. So I told my mom, I was like, no, we're just going to come, because we were planning on staying the night at her house again. And I was like, I don't want to stay at Aunt Carol's house again because then I don't want to be stuck in Chicago. Like, that'll just be miserable.
And I think we had to drive back.
Yeah, we had to work. You and I had to work.
But, like, I think, didn't we at that point already have to drive back?
Oh, yeah.
Like, we had already driven.
We had already driven, like, 2 hours.
Yeah.
So we would have had to drive 2 hours back to the burbs.
Which, after what we went through, that would have been...
Probably would have been wise.
Good. Or at least, like, get a hotel where we were at or something. But, like, we were never that type of people where we're, like, we're just like, oh, we can do it. We'll push through.
Yeah,
or
we really were
save
optimistic.
money, too. Like, I don't know. We would have probably just been like, I don't know why.
Because we were young and dumb. We
Yeah.
didn't have enough life experience. And I was just like, I can totally outrun this storm. Like, it's not even going to hit Indianapolis until this specific time. So, like, I have plenty of time to get there and then get beyond. And I just didn't want to stay in Chicago another night because we had to go to work.
Which that would have been a very good reason to call out that we're stuck in
Chicago.
snowstorm.
Yeah. So I knew that Jell and I both had to get to work a couple days. Like, we were going to stay with my mom and then drive the rest of the way home. And then we had to go to work the next day. So we were driving in the dark. It was nighttime. And it started to, like, rain a little bit. And then the rain, like, turned into sleet. And I was just trying to stay very calm. My stomach was being ripped to shreds because of the fries that I ate from Wendy's. And I was, like, in a lot of pain. And I was just applying that peppermint oil. And Vanessa and Angelica were asleep in the back seat. And Erica was in the passenger seat, just, like, riding along, calm, cool, collected. And it was, like, not bad. And then it got bad so quick.
Yeah.
It got bad so quick. The guy, I was in the right lane, and the guy in front of me, like, started to slow down. It was a pickup truck. I'll never forget this. He was a pickup truck with pulling a trailer, like a horse trailer. He put his brakes on and started to slow down, and there was nobody in the left lane. And so I was just, like, cruising along. So I just got over into the left lane. But when I switched lanes, I hit a patch of ice and started to slide off the road. And I was terrified, but I don't complain. You'll never know that I have a problem. So I just stayed super calm, and I had taken a defensive driving class when I was a teen, so I knew what to do when you hit a patch of ice. And so I was, like, gently correcting and just, like, kind of, like, took my foot off the gas. And Vanessa and Angelica woke up because they could tell that we were sliding and they thought we were about to die.
Yes. When you wake up from a nap to that, yeah. I was like, what is happening? And then you look around and there's, like, cars on the side of the road with their four-ways on.
Yes. And there was... So I just slowed way down. I got back over into the right lane. And I was like, I'm just going to stay behind this truck. We're going to be buddies. And I'm just going to go slow and steady. And so we were just outside of Indianapolis when this happened. And I remember looking on the other side of the interstate going north. And there were so many cars just, like, in the ditch waiting to, like, be pulled out of the ditch. And I was like, oh my, like, that's when it hit me, like, this is serious, and I think I made a mistake.
Turns up the worship music even
louder.
I
was just going to say, so I turned on, there was one specific song, Miracles by Jesus Culture, that I was, like, obsessed with at that point, because that also, listening to that, like, helped my ulcer pain. And so I just kept putting that on repeat, and I, like, turned it up, like, I believe in you, you're the God of miracles, like, you can get us home. And so, yeah, it was so crazy and so scary. And I was thinking to myself, like, I know a lot of people in Indianapolis. So I was like, worst case scenario, I can, like, call somebody up and be like, hey, I'm stranded and, like, we need a place to stay. And so at least I had, like, a backup plan, but I wasn't voicing any of this. As far as everybody knew, everything was fine.
Literally. We were just shocked that she was still going.
Yeah.
We were like she's just going. She's just chilling. Like, she's going, like, 35. And we're thinking, like, maybe you should slow down even slower, because we were like she was driving as if there was nothing happening. Like, she was driving safely, but, like, you just look at her and she doesn't look like she's panicking. But
yeah, I
we're
probably,
all just,
like, had my leg propped up.
Yeah.
And everything. And I was just, like, trying, because I didn't want them to panic. And so I was trying to be really calm, like a mom. And I think Erica even said, like, should we stop and get a hotel? And I was like, no, we can make it. We'll just get there really late. We'll just get to my mom's really late.
It was really late.
It was really late. We got home at, like, 2:30. It was between 2:30 and 3.
Oh.
Because remember the infamous text? That was at 3 a.m. Thanks, fam.
Oh, yeah. Wait, what was your what was the text to you?
He sent this long freaking novel about how amazing it was to see me in person, and he's so sorry that it was so awkward. He just didn't know what to do. He felt so uncomfortable, and he just couldn't believe how beautiful I was in real life. And I said, thanks, fam.
Literally, she responded to a whole text from a guy. Thanks, fam.
It was a long novel about how amazing I am.
Mind you, the whole time she ignored him. But
it was somebody that we hung out with in Chicago, and it was like I was so miserable. Like, we went to like this Target in Chicago, and like we did a bunch of like exploring, and I was just really miserable. I felt terrible because I hadn't eaten. Like, the only thing that I could stomach was like water, and I had half a grapefruit that morning, and that was like a mistake. It hurt so bad. And I got a green juice from Target because I was like, at least this will give me something. But I was just sipping that all day, and I was just in so much pain. So anyway, I wasn't paying attention to him. But yeah, I'm a savage.
Literally.
But yeah, I mean, we did end up getting home safely to my mom's house through the snowstorm. It was fraught. I had to go very slow for a very long time.
Even when we got there, their whole driveway was icy. So we even, as we're walking in the house, we had to carry our stuff in and like walk like so slow because it was literally like a whole like skating rink, like an ice skating rink.
Even when my parents have a really long driveway, and even when I was driving down the driveway, I was like, this is a whole sheet of ice. Like, I had no traction.
And there's like a cutoff on both sides.
Yeah.
So like if you go off the driveway, you're going off like into like down a hill.
Yeah.
Whew. So
that was
God
crazy.
really protected us.
Yeah, for real. We got home so late, and we just like immediately started getting ready for bed because we were so exhausted. I was like so tense, and so I was so glad to be home. And then don't forget, we ended up calling off.
Oh.
Because we stayed at my mom's. Yeah, we were supposed to leave that next day, but because we got home so late, we were like, we didn't want to drive again. Yeah. And the storm was still going through, and so we didn't want to catch up with it.
Yeah.
And so we were like, we both called off. Wow. And we were like, we're stuck in Indiana in a snowstorm. We'll be there later. Like, yeah. So we got to spend the whole day with my mom, which was so fun. Yeah. Actually, that was when we went to the Creation Museum. Really? We like had a day. We went to the Creation Museum, and we went to go see The Greatest Showman.
That's when we saw The Greatest Showman?
Yes, and I was so sick. And my mom made tofu scramble that morning.
Oh, love tofu scramble.
Yeah. Wow, that was fun. Yeah. I just remember that we saw The Greatest Showman that time because Ariel had seen it and she loved it, and she was like,
we saw it in the theater, right?
Yeah. She was like, if you guys are staying, do you want to go see it? And I was like, okay.
I remember thinking like I was always like a very bad attention span person, so I didn't go.
She still is. Don't let her fool you.
Yeah, that's very true. But so I would like anytime I go to the movies, if it wasn't something I knew I'd like, I was always scared that I would like hate it because I not hate it, but
you'd
like
just be so bored.
And I thought that for this movie because I was like, The Greatest Showman. Like, I don't know what that is.
But it was Zac Efron, so she was like, I'll try it.
I loved that movie. And so
that became our thing.
We listened to that soundtrack
forever.
So many times.
Rachel loved it.
Yes.
I have this video of little tiny baby Rachel like dancing on a bench to From Now On. And she's like marching and like, oh my gosh, she was so cute and little.
And then on Valentine's Day we went to Cookout, and we were just having the time of our lives in the parking lot listening to the Greatest Showman soundtrack, blasting it. And she had a sunroof on her car, so we were hanging out the windows, hanging out the sunroof and everything, just singing along. And like people were walking past and everything, and we didn't care. We were just having like the best night, and that was the best Valentine's Day any of us ever had.
Yeah, it was so fun.
It was like just amazing. It was one of those like nights that you just never forget the feeling of just like pure happiness, and like life was so simple and like
we were all together.
Yeah. Love The Greatest Showman.
And like that's crazy. That's like a mundane miracle that you don't really think about. I mean, the fact we've never put those pieces together. The fact that our delay allowed us to see The Greatest Showman, which like went on to create the best night of our lives.
Literally.
That's crazy.
Wow. Thank you, God.
Thank you, God.
But
yeah. And then another fest that we went to was
Flood City Fest.
Flood City Fest. I forgot what the real name was.
I know. We were most anxious for this fest because it was very a more like personal one than
Yeah, it was
like
very
audio
small.
feed, and we had kind of like me and Erica, the Simon sisters, which Mariah was a part of that too. She's always a Simon sister, like even though she's
Oh yeah, one time at audio feed, My Epic played, and we went to their we went up to them afterwards, and the Simon sisters had known like My Epic for a long time, and Aaron Stone looked at me. He like gave the girls hugs, and he looked at me, and he was like, and he looked at them, and they were like, "This is our friend Mariah," and he was like, "Friend," and I was like, "Yeah," and he was like, "Okay, that's what I thought, but like, you look 90% Simon, like you could be a Simon," and I was like, "Yes, I'm a Simon. I'm 90% Simon."
Aaron Stone said it, so
It must be true.
yes. Wow, such good memories.
I know. But yeah, that Flood City Fest.
I don't know, for some reason it made us so anxious. Like we literally had panic attacks in the car before we went in.
Like we were getting close and we were all freaking out. We were
It
like,
was like we didn't even want to walk in there.
we were like, okay, time to go home. Like, let's turn around.
It was so bad.
Yeah, it was really bad. But then right around, like we were just about to get to the church where it was, and there was this big mural on the side of the road that had a Bible verse on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember exactly what it looked like. Was it Jesus's hands?
Yeah, I think so.
We have pictures of it somewhere. And it said like, "Fear not, for I am with you," or something.
Yes, I think so.
And we
We
all
were
just like read it and we were like, "Oh, yeah, like this isn't even about us." And that just took all the pressure off, and we felt just so at peace when we saw that.
For real. We were still a little nervous before walking in.
Yeah.
But
then as soon as we were parking, we saw Chris Bernstorff, and they were like screaming like at us. They were so excited, and we were like, "Oh, this is fine. This is normal."
Yeah, as soon as like a couple people say something, then it's like, okay, good.
Yeah.
And then we walk in, and like a couple people, well, like one person first, he was like, "You're the Simon sisters." And he was freaking out, like as if we were like,
as if we
were
had
like celebrities.
Something. Yeah.
Like, but he was like dead serious. He was like, "Oh my gosh, y'all are here." And we were like, "What?"
Yeah.
It was so crazy because it was like we were so anxious, and then it's like we have someone that's like just so excited that we're even there. At this point, we don't even think anything highly of ourselves.
Yeah.
We're like anxious and scared and whatever, and to come in and someone be like, "Oh my gosh, the Simon sisters."
It was so cute.
And that definitely opened up some more confidence and like just peace that, okay, we're gonna be okay here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we were just like shocked like that somebody even like treated us like that. And then it happened again with somebody else, and they were like, "Oh, the Simon sisters are here." And honestly, it happened multiple times. But it just felt so like, wow, like this is so cool. We're actually like loved. Like that was the first time we ever felt that way going to stuff like that, because it's always very nerve-wracking. There's so many people from so many different places, and like we didn't really realize that like people actually cared about us.
Yeah, like it was always kind of like oh yeah, the Simon sisters.
Yeah. But that was like huge.
Yeah.
Like it was really like we walked into the room and it was like we were celebrities. I don't know. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But it was so fun. It was cool. We had so many conversations with people. We shared stories and testimonies and like just so much good times we had. And
he said like Yoda, so much good times we had.
Yeah, I have to re-say that. And we just had so many good times. The only thing that was absolutely terrible was this girl let us stay at her house, at her apartment.
Which isn't the terrible part. That was so kind, and she was so hospitable, and it was so cute, honestly.
Yes,
like
it was amazing, like the actual like place.
When we got there, it was so cute. She had like this little snack bar that she had set up for us,
and like waters and stuff, and we loved that.
It was so cute. She wrote us a little note.
So we are so thankful for her.
Yes.
So thankful. So this isn't to like complain. I mean, it is, but it isn't. But we didn't know how to handle situations. We didn't like go buy air mattresses or anything.
Right.
We slept on a hardwood floor.
Hardwood
there was one
floor.
there was one couch, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a floor.
And Erica.
So this was all our fault.
Yeah.
We didn't go get air mattresses. Like, hello?
Yeah,
Or
we didn't really come prepared.
Yeah. So we slept on a hardwood floor with just blankets. Like,
Erica slept on the couch because she is an old lady.
the oldest.
Yeah,
But-
she was like, I'm the oldest. I'm going to sleep on the couch. Vanessa, at one point, she just couldn't handle the floor anymore, and she curled up in this chair.
Like a love seat.
Yeah. It was like a small, love seat.
Like, just imagine sleeping on a hardwood floor, just a blanket over you. Like, I don't even think we had one under us,
I
did we?
don't think so.
I don't even know why we didn't just go buy some air mattresses.
Well, we got there really late, and we didn't know the area, so we didn't know like where
But
the
we
stores
stayed
were.
there a couple nights.
Yeah. I don't know why we didn't do it again. And it got so hot.
Oh, it was so hot. Like, dying, having like that one blanket on us, we didn't even want anymore. It was so hot. And like, we thought about opening a window, but we didn't know like how to do it, or she would want us to open the window. Like, I don't remember. We just
we were scared.
yeah, we were just like so unable to make our own like life
Choices.
better. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we didn't even open a window or anything. We were
We just suffered.
hot and terrible, and our bodies were like that. It was hard to even like sleep because it was
Yeah.
just like a hardwood floor. So that was our fault for not being prepared.
But
But
man,
thank God for her, because we
Yeah.
had a place to stay.
one thing that I really remember so vividly is leaving the church. Oh gosh, I just hit myself. Leaving the church and going to her apartment for the first time. It was like late at night, and it was dark, and I didn't know the area. We had never been there, and we were going to. I think we were just about to pull in to where she was, but this car like zoomed around the corner and really almost hit us. And it was like so terrifying. And Vanessa said something so funny. I don't remember what it was, but it was so funny. She said something about how like the devil was really trying to get us. I don't remember. It was so funny. She just has great
forgot about
one-liners.
that. Yeah, she does. She's so funny. That was our first year at Flood City Fest.
I mean, oh yeah, you lost your wallet.
Oh yeah. I don't know how or what happened, but I lost my wallet. I used to carry around like a little wallet purse thingy, and I lost it. And so we like told a few people, and we just were kind of like asking if anyone saw it. And one of our friends actually stopped, and he's like, let's just pray. And literally prayed. And right after he prayed, we found the wallet.
It was amazing. It was just like so great, because when you're in that panicked state of like, oh my gosh, I lost my wallet, you don't always stop to think, okay, I have to pray about this, which like that should be like a good initial reaction to have. But sometimes you just panic and
Yes,
you
you
just
basically
start
always
retracing
do.
your steps, and like, you know, because you don't realize right away that it's lost. You just are like, oh, I'm just going to retrace my steps and I'll find it. But then you don't find it, and then you panic.
And like, we're all the way in Pennsylvania, and
Yeah.
I'm from North Carolina, so I'm like, I'm gonna have nothing. Like, we didn't even have Apple Pay back then.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It was just like all my money, everything to get back home. And so it was very scary, because it's like, what if it's stolen? Like, what if it, like, whatever. It was just, yeah. So thank God that we found it.
Yeah, it was cool. It was like pretty much we said amen and then we found it, basically.
Yeah.
It was in a place that you had looked before too. I can't remember where you found it, but it was
it
just,
in like the parking lot maybe?
maybe. Yeah, that was crazy. I was really anxious during all of Flood City Fest because it was such a small space with a lot of people,
Yes.
and I don't do well with that. And I was just so glad to have Vanessa. I was clinging onto her like for dear life, like a little koala. I think we were both hanging on to each other for emotional support, but we were just like, the whole time we were just like so like.
Because that was her first fest, right? That was before we even went to
Yeah.
Audio Feed.
Yeah, you're right. So she was scared and I
Yeah.
was scared.
But even though everyone to y'all was just like, oh, hey guys, like
Yeah.
whatever, because it's like y'all were Simon sisters too.
Yeah,
But like, y'all didn't really know any of them.
right.
So like, people still talk to y'all just like the same, but y'all were just like,
We just
we don't
didn't
know these
really
people.
know anybody. Yeah.
That's,
We've lived a lot of lives. That's not even all the stories we could tell. There's a whole other fest that we could talk about, but
yeah.
we don't got time for that. So I lived in Indiana. Again, I had moved back from North Carolina to Indiana. So I went to North Carolina to pick them up for Flood City Fest and to take them to Pennsylvania. And so then we were driving back to North Carolina, and then I would drive back home. So on our way leaving Pennsylvania, we went through this part of the state that didn't have any cell phone service. And so my maps, like, I guess stopped working. Just wasn't, I don't know. It just wasn't telling me anything. And all of a sudden, we see this Welcome to Maryland sign. And I was like, I don't think we're supposed to be in Maryland. I don't think you go through Maryland to get back to North Carolina. And so we were totally lost. I pulled off on at a rest stop, and we took some great pictures at that rest stop. There was like a water view and everything, and it was like, that was a good stop. But yeah, it was like we were so hungry.
This famous line, help, we're lost and we need Taco Bell.
Yeah, we were so hungry and we just wanted Taco Bell. I was like trying to get my phone to load. It just wasn't loading. Man, that was crazy. But yeah, I finally got it to work somehow. And we went to a Taco Bell on exit 7. God bless exit 7.
Wow, you remember that?
Yeah, I remember because it was so important to me. Yeah, that was a crazy time. And then so we made it back home. And
well, wait, isn't that the same time when we were like driving in darkness and there was deer, and then we stopped at that grocery store? It felt like we were in another world.
I think that was when we were back home from audio feed, because coming back home from audio feed because Catherine and I had accidentally made that drive earlier this year.
Oh.
And I saw that Ingalls, and I was like,
Ingalls, that's what
I was like, oh my gosh, I've been here before and I almost hit a deer. It was so scary. But yeah, that was a different time.
Okay, never mind that.
But I think we wanted to stop in Lynchburg at the White Hart Cafe. I don't think we did because we got lost in Maryland.
Yeah.
I don't think we had time.
No, I don't remember that.
But yeah, so then on my way home by myself, I got my very first ticket. My first and last. I got caught in a speed trap, and it was...
I know you were scared.
I was so scared. I was 22. I think, I was 22. And it was my mom's birthday. I was trying to make it home to be with my mom on her birthday. So, yeah, it was right on the Tennessee-Kentucky border. Every time I go to North Carolina, I drive by it. And it was so traumatizing. They were so mean to me. The cops were so mean to me. I was wearing a shirt that I bought at Flood City Fest. It was merch from our friend Amy, and it had a picture of her dog on it, a beagle named Lloyd. We love Lloyd. And, I'm literally this little girl wearing a dog t-shirt, and the cops pull me over, and I was so scared. And they were like, the one cop, there were two of them, and one cop asked me, do you have anything in your vehicle that could harm us or something? And I said no. Or maybe he asked if there was anything illegal in my car or something. I don't remember how he phrased it, but I said no. And he said, don't lie to me. And I said, I'm not lying. Why would you?
First of all, you don't even have to answer questions.
Yeah.
So, excuse me, sir.
But like, you're looking at me wearing this dog t-shirt. I'm literally just a 20-something teenage girl.
Who do you think you are saying don't lie to me, first of all?
Yeah. And he was like, where are you going? And I said, home. Where's home? I said, Indiana. He's like, where are you coming from? I said, North Carolina.
Wait, were you going through Virginia? Or you said that was
Tennessee.
Tennessee. Oh.
And he was just like, it was just so awful. And then my insurance is on my phone. I didn't have an insurance card. I just had it on my phone. And I couldn't get logged into the app. It was my dad. Like, I was on my dad's insurance. And I was trying to log into the app, and it wouldn't let me in. And so I was calling my dad. He wasn't answering. And I was calling my mom. She wasn't answering. And so I called my brother. And I was like, do you know the password? And he was like, let me see if I can find it. He couldn't find it. And so anyway, the cops like saw me trying and struggling. And they were like, it's fine. Like, it's fine. So anyway, yeah, I did get a speeding ticket. I was going 5 over, you guys. I got a speeding ticket for 5 over.
Same. That's what happened to me.
And it was like, it was a lot of money. It was like almost $200.
Mine was like $150.
Yeah. And I tried, even on my phone, on the GPS, you know how it has the speed limit listed? It even said it was 75. So I was going 75. It said it was 75 on my phone, and I took a screenshot of it.
75 or 70?
75.
Where's their 75 speed limit? Isn't it normally 70?
there's a stretch on that interstate on 75 where it is 75.
Oh.
So, yeah, it was like I was going 75 and the speed limit was actually 70, but it had just dropped.
Yeah.
Like,
they purposely wait there.
yes, it was they were at an overpass and I was driving next to a semi truck. He was blocking the sign. I couldn't see the speed limit sign when it changed.
So you could have won that if you went to court.
Yeah, but
Maybe.
my mom called the court or whatever because it said that I had a court date and I was like, I'm not driving all the way back to Tennessee to go to court.
Yeah, you have to just pay it.
Yeah. And that's
what I
had to do. And so, but I got
and
it.
they know that. That's why when they see out of state tags.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, even though it's 5 over, they're like, "Oop, Indiana." But yeah, I paid it, and then I had to take like a traffic school course in order to get it expunged. So it's not technically on my record anymore because I took traffic school.
Why would that even be on your record? Just for 5 over? Do
Mm-hmm.
you think they really?
Yeah,
keep
every speeding ticket is on your record.
Oh, good thing only had one.
Yeah. So that was terrible. And then my mom called me back right as I was like pulling back onto the road. And she was like, "Sorry, I see that I missed your call." And I was like,
Too late.
I just got a speeding ticket.
Why do we always cry? Why is it so scary even though we know we didn't do anything wrong technically?
I think that's why,
Like, it's a
because we didn't
mistake.
do anything wrong.
Yeah. But it's also so so nerve-wracking. I'm always like,
Yeah. I like that you say always as if how many times have you been pulled over?
for speeding, I think that was the only time. But I've been pulled over for other things.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait. No, I did get pulled over for speeding another time, but I didn't get a ticket.
Mm.
And that was where it went from 45 to 35. And I had just, like, he was, like, right after the sign again. It was,
Yeah.
like, a trap. And I guess I was still, I was either going, like, 40 or 45 still.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, so he pulled me over for that. But then he just gave me a warning. I don't know why. And we were, like, we went Christmas shopping, and we had tons of stuff in the back seat.
Oh,
like,
no.
bags of stuff. And he was like, "You got any dead bodies back there?"
He had a better
So
sense
he was
of
kind
humor
of
than
like,
my cops.
yeah, he was like kind of, that was in North Carolina. When I
Yeah.
got pulled over in Virginia, that was a terrible cop. Virginia cops are ruthless. And then there was just, like, whenever I had a temporary tag that was expired because they didn't send me
yeah.
my plate yet for taillight or, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's been a few times, which it doesn't feel like that, but every single time I freak out. And I'm just like, like trying to hand my cards over. And
I've only been pulled over that one time. One time we were out and about. I don't know why I said that.
out and about.
Out and about. And I had a headlight that was out. And I was literally so nervous about being pulled over for that I made an appointment for the next day to have my headlight changed at Pep Boys. And that way I was like, okay, if I get pulled over, I can say it just went out and I have an appointment for tomorrow at 10 a.m. to get this fixed. Nothing happened, and I probably could have got away with it for a little longer. And then that ended up being a super expensive fix because
they charge too much.
Yeah.
For nothing.
But I wanted to have that assurance.
Which, honestly, that's a good way to be because I am scared every time I drive at night because one of my taillights is still out. Yeah, so...
yeah.
To give you peace of mind, I guess it was worth paying that because, you could drive at night.
Mm-hmm. Then we stopped going to fests because, I moved to California, but then right after I moved to California, everything shut down.
Well, we went the following year to Flood City, but she didn't because she was in California. And then the next year is when
everything happened
with COVID. So, yeah, but
crazy
we
times.
we have
so many stories.
But yeah, so that's our stories of our road trips and our music fests.
What's your mundane miracle for the week?
It's the pumpkin pie I made.
That is so good, honestly. That is a mundane miracle.
So we had friends over last night, and Mariah and them two are vegans, so I made a vegan pumpkin pie, which I've never made before. And I was just so scared because I'd never had it, so I'm like, I hope it turns out good. It turned out perfect.
It was so good. I've never had anything like it.
Yeah, the texture is perfect. It wasn't all like slimy or like
it wasn't gritty.
Yeah,
like
and it didn't like come apart. It was kind of like perfect pumpkin pie, really. Like
Yeah.
the texture and everything.
It was like the kind that you see in pictures.
Yeah.
It
And
was really
she
good.
made her own like whipped cream and to
Mhm.
go on top. And it was just amazing. It turned out good. And it's always scary when you make something that you've never tried before. Honestly,
and you have to veganize it.
yeah. So that's
Yeah.
my mundane miracle of this tough week.
Yeah. My mundane miracle is that we went out to lunch with my parents on Sunday. And we went to this restaurant that Angelica and I had been to one time and we loved it. But the mundane miracle is that we had a coupon for free spring rolls. And so we got to have those spring rolls. They were so delicious.
Gosh, they were. Don't even tell
Oh
me
my
that because now I
gosh.
want
I know, now I want sticky.
But we have another free thing, right?
We can go and we can get sticky
I have
rice
one
and,
too.
and spring rolls.
Yes.
Mm.
We'll have to do that tomorrow.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah. So,
Comment your mundane miracle or send it to us in a message. We would love to hear them.
yeah, and we need to after the
Yeah.
week we've had.
Yes, please. If you haven't listened to episode 1, to part 1 of this, go back and listen to part 1.
Yes. But yeah, thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.